going to explore how long it takes to save $1 million starting at various ages, 25, 35, 45, and 55. One of the things that you should pay attention to is an unbelievable amount of difficulty it is the longer you wait to start. One of the things that we'll look at using a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet is also inflation and how inflation will erode your spending power off whatever amount of money that you save. It may seem like a lot of money now, but you'll see it's not quite the amount of money you thought it was when you look at it through the eyes of inflation.
Here we have a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and these columns over here, this is the return on your investment, and this one's going to be an inflation adjustment. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. So we need to have a starting amount, and we're going to invest $100 a month. And if I do $100 a month, it's $1,200 a year. And as you can see, there's nothing other than the $1,200 a year that I contribute. But the next thing that I need to do is I need to have a percent return. So if I'm just investing in the S&P 500, you can do that with an index ETF, such as SPY or VOO. And the S&P 500 has returned 10.5% on average going back to the 1950s, 1957, I believe. And as you can see here, if I do just $100 a month, after 40 years of $100 a month, instead of $48 being put in, this is the power of compound returns, I would have $600,000. At 10% interest, that would give me an income of approximately $5,300 a month. So if while you're working, you're living on $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year, this would meet your retirement goals. But the purpose of this video was to see what it would take to get this to be $1 million at age 65. So let's increase this to $150 a month. And at $150 a month, we're getting really close. It's $913. The monthly income is close to $8,000 here if starting at age 25. So let's try $165. And as you can see, we've hit our goal. Now, let's say that I didn't start saving until age 35. Well, instead of 40 years of saving, we would only have 30 years of saving. So I would only come down to this line. I need this number to be $1 million. So we need to move up the amount invested. We'll try 400. As you can see, it substantially jumps. Year 30, I'm still at 800,000. I'm not quite there yet. We'll do 465. So at 465, we've hit the $1 million, probably a little bit less than that. So it looks like about $463 or so per month would do it. And if we didn't start until age 45, we would only have 20 years of saving. So we need this column here to be $1 million for year 20. So we'll try 1,000. As you can see, if you delay starting to save, it takes a long time to do it. In year 20, we're still only at 727. So let's jump this up to about 1,300. And year 20, we still didn't do it at 1,300, so let's try 1,380. And 1,380 does it. So there's a substantial difference if you delay starting. And then our last one was to see starting at age 55. So starting at age 55, we would only have 10 years of saving. So this column would be the one that has to be $1 million. So let's jump that up to about 4,500. And as you can see, year 10, we're still shy of it. Try 5,000. At 5,000 a month, you're still just shy of it. So we'll try 5,130. And you'll see here at 5,130, we've hit it. Now, what I want to do, I want to take this back down to what the amount for age 25 to 65 for $1 million was $165. And what this column here is inflation adjusted. If there was no inflation, and there will be, then your buying power 40 years from now would be the same. The current rate of inflation, let's back it up a little bit. Let's say when inflation first spiked about a year ago, we had hit a peak of around 9%. If inflation hadn't changed by the Fed raising interest rates to bring the inflation rate down, your purchasing power, if inflation stayed, your purchasing power off $1 million would have been $100,000, about 1/10. And then he raised interest rates and got it a little under 4%. I think it's around 3.9 now. And even at 3.9, it's about a third of what it is. The historical average for inflation going back to the 1960s or so was 2.5%. So that should be our goal. There'll be some years where it's lower and some years when it's higher. So at 2.5%, your money's worth about half. So you would expect that this would have to be doubled. So let's try $330 a month. And that's about it. So you would have to save about $330 a month starting at age 25 to have what is the purchasing power of $1 million today. You would actually have $2 million in your account, and it would be $1 million buying power at age 65. And let's just talk about this column over here for a minute. This is what your monthly income would be based on these columns over here. You can see if I change inflation to 4%, you'll see this number here would change. This number would drop quite a bit. And it got cut in half going from 2.5 to 4%. And the reason why is the 4% is technically deducted from your 10.5% return. So you're effectively only seeing a 6.5% return because inflation's taking 4% off of whatever your gain is. So with certain dollar amounts saved, if you arbitrarily pick $500, these columns here would tell you what your income would be at age 65 with inflation. So if you were trying to match a $5,000 income, you would have to start at age 25 saving what is essentially a car payment worth of money. So if you'd like this spreadsheet so you mess around with it and put different values in or just keep updating it over time, this is on my Patreon page. And there's a link in the description below to go to the Patreon page. So if you're a member, you get all of these spreadsheets that I'm creating for free. If you mess one of them up, you can just download it over again. Most of them have safeties built in. So just don't enter any numbers other than in a red spot, a red place. If you'd like a video on how to use the spreadsheet in more detail, just leave that in the comments below, and then I'll create the video and also post that to the Patreon page.